Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. My name is Caroline Adilayo. I'll be your host for today. Kindly give us a few minutes for others to join. While others join, please drop your details, your contact details, your phone number and email address on the chat box. We'd like to get in touch with you after the webinar. And please share the information, the webinar design. Please kindly help us to share it with your friends, your family and friends, so that they can also be part of this webinar. While we wait for others to join, please drop your phone number, your email address in the chat box. Thank you as you do so. And I kindly drop your location as well. So as an organization, we understand that there has been a lot of confusion regarding the new Canada immigration policies. Issues such as obtaining the Provincial Attestation Letter, and also whether or not spouse can work as independent. And as organization, we understand all this confusion. So that's why we decided to host this webinar just for you and just to, share some light into this important immigration policy and also give you expert advice on your application process. Please, if you have not, if you don't have your writing materials readily available, please get them beside you now, because I promise you that this webinar is going to be informative and educative. Please drop your phone number, email address. Sammy, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining. Vincent Odola, I'm sorry if I didn't get the pronunciation of your name. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. Please share the information with your contacts, with your friends, so that they can also be beneficial of this webinar. So, Precious, thank you for joining. Temitope Oladimeji Mistura, thank you so much for being here. Makide Blessing, thank you for joining. Mary Alaka, thank you for joining. Please drop your contact details to the chat box, your phone number, the last of your phone number, your email address, and your location where you are joining from. We would like to get in touch with you after the webinar. Please, you can also share the flyer design to your contacts, your friends, so that they can be part of this webinar. Thank you so much. As I have earlier stated, I promise you that you are going to get value and this will not be a waste of time. So just be rest assured.
La réglementation des établissements d'enseignement relève des provinces et des territoires. Certains d'entre eux ont laissé perdurer ce phénomène inacceptable pendant trop longtemps. Today, I am announcing 3 principal measures. 1, a temporary 2-year cap on new international student permits. It is the latest in a series of measures to improve program integrity and set international students up for the success in order to maintain a sustainable level of temporary residence in Canada as well. To ensure that there is no further growth in the number of international students in Canada for 2024, we are setting a national application intake cap for a period of 2 years. For 2024, the cap is expected to result in approximately 364,000 approved study permits, a decrease of 35% from 2023. In the spirit of fairness, we are also allocating the cap space by province based on population, such as that some provinces will see much more significant reductions. We'll continue to work closely with those provinces and territories to put these measures into place, as they will be responsible for determining how the cap is distributed between its designated learning institutions that they have jurisdiction over. I've had productive conversations, in particular with British Columbia and Ontario already, and we all recognize that more needs to be done to protect the integrity of our system while supporting international students. In addition, effective immediately, applicants must provide a provincial attestation with their study permit application. At the same time, the cap will not apply to students in graduate levels of studies, including master's and doctoral students. Those are the people we're looking for. Study permit applications at the elementary and secondary school levels will also be exempt. Deuxièmement, afin de mieux aligner le programme de permis de travail post-diplôme avec l'intégrité du système, nous modifions également les critères d'éligibilité. À partir du 1er septembre 2024, les étudiants internationaux qui commencent un programme d'études faisant partie d'un accord de licence de programme d'études ne seront plus admissibles à un permis de travail post-diplôme après l'obtention de leur diplôme. Dans le cadre de ces accords, les étudiants
All right. Oh, the audio was out when I stopped sharing. Caroline, can you hear me? Over to you. I think we're at a good number where we can start now. All right. Am I audible? All right. Welcome to our webinar. I will just allow Caroline to do the final introductions before I proceed. Over to you, Caroline. All right. I'm not sure why we cannot hear Caroline, but we will begin the webinar shortly. We have called this webinar for very important updates. We spent a couple of hours yesterday evening with the most senior commissioner right now in the Nigerian Canada immigration space. Some of us may know or may not know that the Canada Deputy High Commissioner, I believe that was her position, passed on a couple of weeks ago. I think that it would be nice for us to say prayers to her family, have her family in our hearts and spirits at this time. However, we will proceed with very important information that has come through our learning, come through our process. So yesterday we were with the Senior Trade Commissioner, and he shared a couple of things with us, most of which we will be discussing with you now, alongside what our office in Canada and our head office is trying to do now as it pertains to this new information. I want to believe that everybody here has either heard about the CAP or you'll be hearing about it for the first time. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Feel free to share the link. I'm sure if you're here, you are either a customer or potential customer. I know that I'm scheduled to go live in about an hour and a half, but we needed to come to our customers with this information first before we took it to any other platform. My name or my names are Oladipupo Adebowale. Most of you probably know me as King of Jaguar. To some, I am a father. To some, I am a brother. To some, I'm a husband. Well, to one. All right. So for those of us who is the first time we're hearing about it, or we are just making plans to go to Canada, a couple of weeks ago, probably started in October 2023, the new immigration minister began to make changes to his ministry. He said that it was necessary for people to understand that there were some changes that needed to be made. Some of those changes started with the financial requirement that we popularly call proof of funds. Upon a survey, Canada discovered that the housing and labor issues in certain provinces was now beginning to disturb or affect international students. And they made what we could call a rash decision or a wise decision, depending on the school of thought that you're in. Because now Canada's living expense is now in the top 14%. That means that, rather, top 16%. That means Canada's proof of fund is now higher than over 84% of countries all over the world. There are particular provinces where, you know, some of these issues persist. Ontario, British Columbia, New Brunswick, whereby generally international students target certain institutions that are there. And because of this, they needed to react. You would wonder, and I asked myself the question, that why does the country with the second largest land mass in the world after Russia have what is a housing shortage? If Nigeria with our 200 million people have a housing shortage, we understand it's due to bad governance, due to insecurity, or, you know, a poor economy. but it's largely also because part of the landmass is not livable, if that word is as simple as I can make it for you guys. And so Canada moved their living expense from 10,000 Canadian dollars to 20,635. And then the ripple effect started. There was a scheduled ministerial retreat for earlier this year. And upon review with all the high commissions all over the world, the new changes that we are now hearing about came about to light. I was playing that for you guys just before, or rather, we're playing that for you before I started. So just as a refresher or an introduction, Canada is capping their international students going in for undergrad and other courses aside masters and PhD at 360,000. Currently, we are at 465,000. So they've capped that as 360,000 for the next 2 years, upon which there will be a review by the 3rd. Canada is also saying that similar to what we do with the UK, where we get you an admission and then you have to wait for what is a CAS, right? Which sort of confirms your place in the school and sort of also helps the embassy to know that this student is eligible to go through our process without issues. Canada has now introduced what is called a Provincial Attestation Letter, which we are now calling PAL. In typical progressive fashion, our head office has gone ahead to also create a PAL platform, which will roll out by God's grace the end of March into April for students once this becomes, live. I can just chip in now before we get to that slide that Quebec is the only province that is ready, but we all know that Quebec is French speaking, so that kills the demographic by probably 90%. So the provincial attestation letter will be necessary. We've also heard that students will not be able to come with their spouses to certain programs that are not masters or PhD. Now, similar to the UK, that has banned that outright except for research. If you're going for undergrad, if you're going for postgrad, certificate or diploma, you can no longer go with your dependents. So those are probably the key takeaways. And so we've been working day and night, communicating with the team, communicating with the embassy to find, some resolution, some understanding. And upon an invitation to a meeting yesterday, we felt it was necessary to start today with an impromptu webinar, reaching out to our customers and our potential customers. All right. So it's going to be very short. I think that my slides would help simplify basically what we scribbled down in that sort of 20-30 minutes meeting before we had dinner. So whoever is helping me with the slides, can you please take it to the next page? All right. So key takeaways from these immigration policies. The first thing that the commissioner said to us yesterday was to remind us that he's here to work for us. So not just us as an agency, just Nigeria as a nation and a people. The idea is to do business with Nigeria. The idea is to formalize our trade agreements, which I was surprised had not been finalized. I always assumed that we had finalized that because, the VP under Buhari had gone through that process up and down, and we thought that that was finalized, but that signature has not been appended or wasn't appended in the last administration. They are hoping that that will be done soon, but I'm not optimistic. But notwithstanding, he assured us that he's working both at the front lines and at back ends to deal with issues of visa rejections, anomalies in rejections, issues on bans and things like that, making sure that Nigerian students get a fair shake. But you must also understand that when you have a high commission here, the embassy also knows what your problem is. E.g. is the devaluation of our naira that has taken Canadian dollar from 350 naira to 1,300 naira. Now dollar has crashed again to about 1,003. We do not know how stable that will be, but you must understand that the embassy has that right firmly at the back of their minds, also in their decision making. All right. So what are the key takeaways? First slide was, we were talking about the cap allotment. We needed to understand what that meant. I probably cannot show you some of the things that we're given, but I would explain what we have. Now, Canada has a number of provinces that a lot of international students go to, right? And so what we have is that we are speculating with the embassy the application cap projections and the differences from 2023. Now, cap allotment means that you will be able to apply to provinces with surplus admission allotments to avoid competition in other provinces. I think the biggest shocker for me yesterday was hearing that if a school gives a student an allotment, so let's assume Oladipo gets into Conestoga College, and let me use that opportunity to just list some of our partner schools: George Brown, Georgian, Fanshawe, Centennial, Keyano, what else? I mean, so much, right? We've got Quadland Polytechnic University, Ontario Tech University. We've got Carleton University, University of Windsor, University of Waterloo, Cape Breton University. The list goes on and on, University of Guelph. But let's assume that Oladipo gets into Centennial or Fanshawe College. Let me pick Fanshawe College because they have a particular program that I've always loved. They've got a business management course that is case study driven by industry experts. It's the kind of course that I like. And let's assume I get my admission, I make my payment, I get a cap allotment, so I get the PAL, the Provincial Attestation Letter. Should my visa get denied, that space has not just been lost for me, it's been lost for everybody. And that had me thinking for a good couple of minutes. And so if Ontario has, and we're projecting that Ontario would have 236,000 students, a difference of 133,000 from what they currently have. And so if Conestoga had that space and I got a denial, that space would be gone. It's not going to go to somebody else. And that's a very interesting thing. That should open our eyes and our ears and our brains to doing the right thing, making sure that you dot your I's and you cross your T's, right? So cap allotment, we are estimating cap projections and differences. We're estimating that Alberta would have 71,000, British Columbia would have 83,000, Manitoba would have 21,000 plus, New Brunswick 12,000, Newfoundland and Labrador 8,000, Nova Scotia 15,000, Ontario 236,000, Prince Edward Island 2,631, Quebec 133,000, Saskatchewan 18,000 plus. And these are positives for every other province that is not British Columbia, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Ontario. So already the competition is going to be fierce. Schools are likely going to have to, recruit immigration experts. They will rely on organizations like ours from Canada down through the Western Africa, India, and every other country where international students come from. And they will need to be sure that students can afford to go to school. So largely what you would find in recent months or in coming months is that only organizations or trustworthy recruitment partners would be able to get provincial attestation letters. Now, by God's grace, our organization has been #1 in Nigeria for the last 2 years. It's nothing but by God's grace. We do a lot of things in the market to be able to help people with high conversions. Because when you get an admission, it's nothing if you do not get converted. And conversions for us is that you got your admission and you got your visa and you're in Canada. So 1,000 people apply through a big organization and only 10 people go, or 500 apply with us and 200 go. That's sort of how the numbers are counted in this business. All right, next slide, please. All right, so some of what we are going to be suggesting to our students, which we personally have been doing, we'll just reiterate, is early payment of your tuition deposit. It helps us to begin the process of provincial attestation letters if you're familiar with the UK system, you just understand that this is going to be very similar, but on a shorter level, because Canada has January, May, and September intakes, unlike the UK, whereby the intakes we are most comfortable with is January and September. So early payment of tuition deposits will be very, very emphasized. One of the things that you'll be hearing from me today is the need to move all your Naira to dollar. If you have interest to make this investment, you want to have a high amount of your money in dollars. It is a no-brainer. I remember last year I had a customer who made an investment of all her money in dollars, and she wasn't sure it was the right decision. But when dollar got to 2,000 Naira, a couple of days ago, I can just remember her, because she's probably made 25 million Naira net should she have decided to make that, move, and such is the volatility of our economy, such is the current state of things in Nigeria. And you simply have to be aware. Like you cannot assume that things are just going to be the status quo for you, right? All right. So tuition deposit is a big, big thing. If you're talking to anybody on our team, you want to be sure that you understand what the tuition deposits are, the deadlines. This is not the time to come to an organization like ours and say, I must go in May, when you already know that all these things are not going to be possible, right? Our advice is going to be very, very critical. Our position as advisors will be very, very important. This is not the time to claim to be, knowledgeable in anything. This is the time to work hand in hand with a trusted service to be able to move your dreams into realities. So going for September intake now, you want to know the deadlines, you want to have an idea. By the time these provinces have been given till March 31st to start this process, you want to have an idea how long it's going to take. We will know that to get the provincial attestation letter. You want to have an idea on your end how long it would take to get your tuition, fees paid. With the new policies, we still do not know that dollar is going to be accessible through the bank, so we may likely still be doing black market. The only benefit is that at least the great news this week was 4,000 plus BDCs were written off, and that means that the Naira and dollar rates at bank and black market rates will not be too different. They have claimed that EFCC will go over people. So we expect that there will be some fluidity to be able to make those payments easier. And so it will largely be you having an idea of what you want to do and sticking to, the plan. This is not the time to listen to too many people. Like I usually will preach about, this is the time to figure out the person that knows it the best, or you do it yourself and you follow the process. Because if you make a mistake, not only are you going to be costing somebody else, you'll be costing yourself. This is not the time for you to get a provincial attestation letter and then get a visa denial. If anything for us, our visa success rate would only go up, right? We are currently at, as an organization, 71%. I personally think I'm still over 85%. This is not the time for it to reduce. In the UK, we've never been denied. We are still at 100%. It's because we understand the process. The caste system allows for following due processes. It allows for guaranteeing visas. And we believe that the provincial attestation letter would do the very same thing. One of the most interesting conversations with that trade commissioner yesterday was also hearing that, we're encouraged to go through judicial reviews. If you feel like you have put in the right application, it may take 3 months minimum to 6 months, but applications will be overturned consistently if you have put everything very well together. You've dotted your I's and you've crossed your T's. All right, next slide, please, sir. So, right, attestation letters. I already said this earlier, Quebec has already started. So if you're looking to go through that process with us, come reach out. We've got a couple of schools. You have French interest. Quebec has already started rolling out those letters. But schools will start rolling out that letter by 31st of March. That we'll project that as 1st of April. The 31st is the deadline, so we expect that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, all of them will be ahead of the curve. This is not Nigeria where we would expect that it would roll into April. No. If they say 31st of March, everybody would, even if they have to copy each other, right? So attestation letters will be available. And so that means that when you come to an organization like ours, Iliri Education, / JAPA Partners, when you apply and perhaps you're going for September intake, 4 to 6 weeks is your estimated timeline to be able to get your visa, your admission. Then we will now begin to estimate how long it would take for each school to get the provincial attestation letter. So already based on our relationship with some of our partner schools, and if you do not know, we have over 1,000 partner schools in the Big Four and over 300 in Canada. What you would find is that our processing times that we do for colleges and universities, we could say 30 to 45, days. We will now have a processing time for the provincial attestation letter PAL for each college or university. We would hope that this process will be done in 2 to 3 weeks. I'm pretty sure that at this time, universities are going to be recruiting immigration experts and having a team that will be doing probably interviews like the UK. I'm excited to see what's going to be. For someone like me, it's exciting because I love due process and I love helping people. So when people come to us like this, I'm sure it's going to be easy for people to understand that we can basically stick to the letter of the law and, keep our visa approval very, very high. All right. So next slide, please. All right. Now, before now, all our postgrad interest, once a student has 2-1, 2-2, third class, for those reasons and for financial reasons, everybody says, oh, Mr. Dikpo or King of Japa or Iliri team, please get me a college, get me the cheapest. That has changed, especially if you are not a single Pringle and you're looking to take your family. If you're a single Pringle, go anywhere you want to go, nobody's holding you. Right? There are Nigerians in Canada that are looking for spouses, love and light. But if you're married and you want to go with your family or you've got children, master's degrees are now a no-brainer. We have schools that take 2-2 and 2-1. And at this very moment, we have announced that Ontario has announced a $1 billion investment into their schools. Yes, and that means that more schools would have more facilities. And it's mind-boggling because the schools were making $2 billion from us regularly. So it's on our side, it's confusing that why haven't the schools done a better job of building more hostels and building more facilities? But I mean, we're not going to cry over spilled milk, right? That deed has been done. But the province has announced such investment, and that means more universities would build more campuses, more pavilions, more hostels. And so there'll be more spaces, because generally at master's level, you would find that you've got a course that has 15 seats. So I want to do like Master of Public Policy, and there are only 15 seats all over the world. That's a problem. A college probably has 100 seats, and that's really where the money was being made. But universities really don't mind because they make their money either way. But now we're advising students that, look, master's degree with master's degree. Now, except you and madam are able to agree that, okay, go for college, get your PR, I'll see you in 2 to 3 years, I'll be getting visiting visa. Again, love and light, whatever works for you guys. But master's degrees will be the way to go. Again, I can tout the horn of the schools that I have. Right now, you're talking of Algoma University, Bishop's University, International Business University, Memorial University, Wilfred Laurier University, University of New British Columbia, Trent University, University of Regina, Lakehead University, University of Ottawa, University of Windsor, Ontario Tech University. Those are our master's program offering and more. And now, people always ask me, oh, Mr. Dikpo, is it only these courses that you have relationship with that you work with? No. For different reasons, and our organization will be getting more, schools on board. But usually when you have a partner relationship, it also helps the students to be able to get some favorable responses. And so we can still apply to schools that are not our partner schools. For instance, I can tell you that University of Winnipeg is not our partner school at master's level. And I'm sure the team is working on that, but it doesn't stop that we will still be able to give you expert advice on such applications. But University of Manitoba, they are partners, University of Ottawa, University of Saskatchewan, the list goes on, University of Canada West, Vancouver Island University, Kwantlen Polytechnic University, everybody that you could think about, Laurentian University, my list goes on and on, right? All right, so masters will be the way to go, guys. So reach out to our team. Ilewe is offering free admission processes this season just to be able to get students to start that process. If you want to go ahead that process, terms and conditions will apply. So don't assume that because the people have said free, everything is going to be free. No, when we have great deals, we bring it out. But we are looking to always compete, and we are looking to tell students that we're the best. And sometimes allowing a student to go through that process, and for instance, just paying your application fee will be good. But if you know that you are going to need help across board, just negotiate with your advisor and make the service fee payment, right? Next slide, please, sir. So why a master's degree? Of course, you know you get a university credential. A lot of Nigerians would love to hear this. I spent the last 8 years convincing Nigerians I had a first class degree in college. Now I don't have much to say. Your father wants you to have a university degree, right? You know, we spent so much time trying to convince people that the colleges were just as good. And that was not a lie. But again, when the system has changed, you have to adapt to the system. And I'm sure you know that my mother, I have 2 postgrads, but I'm sure if my mom hears that I have a master's and a PhD tomorrow, she'll be much more prouder. That's just how we are raised. Spouses can apply for open work permit, so that's a no-brainer for you guys. 3-year postgraduate work permit has been announced, has been confirmed, even if you do a 1-year course. And typically, more universities are now investing in 1-year courses, so you could just do 3-4 semesters within a year and be done with that. You're cap exempt, so the cap doesn't affect you. You should know that it's expensive, and that's why people have not gone about that before. Generally, courses will cost between 17 to 25,000 Canadian dollars. Some of our schools are lower, but then usually that means that the window of getting in is very slim, and that's why you want to work with the king of Jaguar. You want to go for a research program that costs $8,000, come and work with me. Don't just go and do it yourself, right? It's a no-brainer. You want to work with the best. You want to work with the person that will tell you the truth and the person that will give you the best chance of getting in. And if you want to work with me, I'll tell you the bitter truth. So if you don't like bitter cola, well, go to where they are selling Coke, right? That's just on a lighter note. No provincial attestation letters required. Now, this matter of provincial attestation letter for me is not a matter that people should be worried about, particularly since it is centered towards undergrad and college people. But generally, right, if you can afford a master's degree, that's what you want to do. Next slide, please. Oh, right at the end of my slides. All right, so we'll go into question and answer. And then I will also go about what I have. But I would allow for question and answer. So please raise your hands, and I'm waiting for my team to moderate that session. I'm still here with you guys.
Thank you so much, King of Japa, for that wonderful and informative presentation. All right, everybody, now it's time for you to ask your questions. I know a lot of us have questions in our minds that we'd like to ask King of Japa himself, please, if you have a question, you can drop it in the chat box. I will read them out one after the other. Okay, so we have a question here for you
Sorry,
already.
Caroline, you have people that have raised their hands, so let's take their questions. If they want to unmute, put on their videos, they can go ahead and do that. Whilst they're doing that, then we can read the questions in the chat box. So I believe that in order, you've got Charles, Vincent, and Essie. So allow them to unmute, and I can spotlight them as well if they want to. So Charles, go ahead.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, good afternoon. So, good afternoon.
good afternoon, Charles.
Charles, go ahead,
Please
please.
go ahead.
Okay, yeah, my question is, I've been working with one of your advisors and we started this process from last year. I was able to get admission with Get Printing on post-bac. Yeah, there's a course, business administration, post-bac, Get Printing University. So now, along the line, this issue of Provincial Attestation Letter came. And I want to ask, can I convert this to a master's program since the offer is not on master's, it's on post-bac? Can I convert it to master's? And also, I have not been able to pay the tuition deposit. What is your advice on tuition deposit? Okay, even if I'm going with the post-bac, do I have to wait until the whole process of provincial attestation letter is solved before paying for tuition deposit? So these are my two questions.
All right. Thank you, Charles. So just, and you should just stay unmuted so that I can handle your question. First things first, Charles, if I get you very well, you have an admission with Cape Breton and you would like to know what the next steps are, but I will need to be able to ask you some questions. Questions like, are you going alone? Are you going with your spouse? Do you have children?
Yes, I have children. I have a family. Initially, before the power issues, I was planning to go with them, maybe especially after I've gone over there, maybe within the time, sometime I can now start processing for their joining over. But as it stands now, I am at crossroads. So, I don't even
Yeah, there's also the crossroads, I'm sure that you are aware of. That's the crossroads of the crossroads of the what's it called now? The new financial regulations, 20,635, being the new proof of funds. So depending on what you want to do, like I had said earlier, if you're going for undergrad, or you're going for a postgrad, opportunities to take your families would be on visiting visas. Yesterday, we did have a conversation where we are convincing universities to change their postgrad certificates and diplomas to applied masters, but we do not know how soon that will be. But you should also hear that, first from here. So it will be very important for you to be able to make a decision based on your finance. Who's your advisor on my team? Charles has muted himself again. Charles, you can text.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Messi. I said Messi.
Oh, Messi, great. All right. So I think that Messi will need to have a scheduled consultation for you. The second question, you asked on the PAL and then tuition deposit, right? You make your tuition deposit if you are sure that that's where you want to go. if you are sure that you will not mind leaving your family first or processing a visiting visa as opposed to an open work permit for your wife. Once you're able to do that, that's fine. But till then, your decisions will be made largely on two sides. How much money do you have? And how you and your family personally have discussed that policy. Two things that we cannot do on this conversation because it's an open space, but I'm sure you understand completely what I'm saying. All right, thank you, Charles. Next question, Vincent Odola.
Okay, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Okay, King Anjakwa, I'm happy to see you. I'm encouraged. I'm moved by your advice this moment. So I started my application. I did it myself in my comfort zone. I did it last year, but the visa was denied. So I saw your advert online, I think on Instagram. Then I started following your page. I started following your interview. Last time you were in Abuja, I tried from Gombe State to visit Abuja, but I could not make it due to my place of work. So I just saw the mail this moment, and I said, okay, let me log in to see what you have for us. So I've actually applied for a university at McEwan University. I paid $1,000 as a tuition fee. And then I noticed that the school doesn't take a master. They only take, I think, diploma, project management and professional communication. That is the course I enrolled for. So my question is like almost closer to what you just answered just now about the attestation letter. So can I just go ahead and pay a huge financial commitment, $1? Okay, like let me just be precise. Like I really wanted to pay part of the tuition fee, like $9,000, with the $1,000 I paid, so that it will sum up to $10,000 as part of the tuition fee. So can I just go ahead and then commit myself financially, or I should wait after the attestation letter?
All right. Honestly, Vincent, again, this is one of those one-on-one sessions. Oluwalonimi on the team or Miss Oluwatosin on the team. They can help you with those decisions because one of the things that I never do is that I try not to give advice based on what a student tells me that is exciting. I try to give advice based on the facts and what I think is right. And so one of the things that happens with me is that when people then discuss with me, I may end up convincing you not to go ahead with that school because there is more to a visa process than just getting an admission and making a deposit. And I wish Nigerian students will understand that. It's why we get denied. Aside from the finance, it's probably the second biggest reason. Now, the third reason is probably the one of they cannot prove that you're going to come back to Nigeria. But those are the reasons why Nigerians get denied. And so I would advise that you take a session with one of our visa support people to be able to make the right decision. Let's find out, since you've gotten denied, if you got your GCMS notes, let's find out why they denied you. Let's find out if this school is right for you. But if you are insisting on going based on what you've said to me, fine. Making that deposit will be something. But again, that's not the step that I would advise you to take. So thank you, Vincent. I am in Abuja in a couple of weeks. Actually, within the next week, I believe I'll be in Abuja again. I'm trusting God because I have a trip up north. So I'll probably route it through Abuja. They would announce. So I'll probably take a tour to Abuja, maybe next weekend. But you guys will figure that out shortly. Thank you. Essay. And Caroline, I don't know if there's any quick question on the chat box that you want us to handle, but there are so many people here and God is going to have to help me to be pressed for time. Essay, you can go ahead, then Abiola.
All right, good afternoon, and thank you for having me here. I'm very excited to be here. Okay, so I did mine by myself. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, ma'am.
All right, okay, so I did my application. I got an admission into a school in Canada College, so I did the processing all by myself. So unfortunately, you see this IRCC and Provincial Attestation Letter really came so late, because I submitted my application, I uploaded and submitted on the 24th of January this year. And we got the news on the 22nd. In fact, I didn't even get to know about the news till 25th. So it was kind of painful for me, because I applied for a postgraduate diploma, you know. So when this news came out, I was just thinking, okay, before I get a decision from IRCC, at least before by 31st of March, I would have gotten my attestation letter from my own province, that's Ontario. You know, so I kept writing to my school, Canada College. They kept replying me, telling me that they do not give attestation letter, but that they know that by 31st of March, the province would have given them that go ahead to distribute attestation letter. So I should just hold on. So when I submitted, I just got my decision from IRCC 2 days ago, telling me that my application has been withdrawn, and that's because so they said because of my attestation letter. Now, why should they do that if they knew that that by 31st of March attestation letter will be ready to all provinces? They should have at least waited. Nevertheless, my application was withdrawn. All well and good. Now, my program is meant to start by April 29th. Hopefully by 31st of March, all processes and procedures would have been put in place for me to apply for an attestation letter if it is applied for, you know. So why I'm asking this question is, as an expert and an experienced organization, what would you advise me to do? My program is starting on the 29th of April. I barely have 2 months. And if I have to reapply, that means I don't know if I'll be able to meet up my program by 29th of April. Also, deferment. If I have to defer to September, I've paid my tuition. I have paid my normal tuition. I just have a balance of like 3 million, which I'm supposed to pay by August, because my tuition was broken down in installments. So I'm asking now, what would you advise me to do? Do I reapply, knowing the fact that my program is starting on the 29th of April? That's number one. Or do you advise that I defer till September? Because I know by then attestation letter would have gone round, people would have gotten, provinces would have gotten, you would have gotten to upload and submit to IRCC and all of that. So please, as an expert and an experienced person, what would you advise me? Because right now I'm confused. IRCC has been playing Ludo with everybody. IRCC, they messed up. They are trying to like make, I don't know, their game. But nevertheless.
So thank you, ma'am. Before you joined, I said that, you know, everything in life can be seen from two sides, right? I can see from your left-hand side and say that, oh, you look very beautiful. And on the other side, somebody else says that, who is this person that looks very brown? That's usually how life is. So I understand that it seems like they're playing Ludo, but you must understand that their priorities to their own people. And reality, I've told myself, is if I was in their shoes, I'd probably do the same thing. If you're a good leader, when people have been coming into your country for 15, 20 years straight, everybody's going to Canada. You don't have houses, you don't have jobs, you've got to react. And so that's why they're doing what they're doing. But from our own vantage point of wanting to go, you know, it's logical for us to feel sad and feel like they're playing with us. But that aside, I got that for a couple of students this week as well, getting withdrawn and getting refunds. What I'll tell you is that withdrawn means that you are starting that process again. The only thing you probably don't have to do is your biometrics if you already did that beforehand.
I've done that already. I've done that.
But you would have to focus, you will have to go through that process. So right now, I believe that we're still at, I think we're about 4 to 6 weeks now in Nigeria for our processing time. So as a brother, logically, I'll tell you to defer, because let's assume you get your provincial attestation sorted out in the first 2 weeks of April. You won't have enough time.
That's true.
So as a brother, I'll tell you to defer. If you want me to look at the documents, my team will charge you a small $100, and then we can talk about it one-on-one. All right. Thank you, Essie. We're going to go to the next questions. Caroline, can you read some questions before we take Abiola?
All right, King of Japan. So we have a question here from Stella. My wife got admission to study undergraduate diploma in South Institute Abata. The program is for 2 years. Will she be eligible for postgraduate work permit, be an undergraduate program, and how many years? Can I be able to also when she's on a postgraduate work permit, will I be able to apply for open work permit to join her at that time? Did you get the question, sir?
Yes. Yes, Caroline, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
All right, great. I wanted to be sure it wasn't my network. All right, so yes. Now, the person that asked that question, is the person applying, is that our school, like our application? Will she be eligible? No. If she's doing an undergrad program, once she's done, she'll be eligible for that. Yes, you can visit her. If you do an undergrad, you're eligible to the same 3 years PGWP. Will I be able to apply? Yes, you can. Yes. So I think I've answered that question. Next person. Abiola, can you go ahead and unmute? I'm looking forward to hearing Adenike. Single Pringle, what's the status of your application? Abiola, can you unmute?
Okay. Hello. Good afternoon. Yeah, who's still in the morning? Good afternoon, King of Jackpa.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you, sir? Thank you very much. Your presentation was so insightful and it really helps. Now, my question is, okay, let me quickly tell you my background. Last year, myself and my family were denied of a visiting visa to Canada on the ground of they are not convinced enough that we have the financial capacity. Yeah, that is on the ground. That's what I said. Now, I intend applying also to Canada via the study route to go for masters. My question is, I was told, I don't know, from my own research, that 2.2 is, I got a 2.2, 3.61, and that you hardly see acceptability of 2.2 for a master, and you also good to get a public institution that in that way the immigration usually grant a visa for public schools. I don't know how far that it is true. Also, I've also applied for scans here on my own, but I was refused admission on the ground of I couldn't submit the transcripts. Because I have 2 masters, one MSc, one MBA, and I intend to go for another master's. But I intend to go for PhD. But I was also told that if you want to go for master's, that you have to restructure your CV and take out those masters, because they'll ask questions that you have 2 masters already. Why do you want to go for another master's? But going for PhD, I knew that they'll take preference on their own citizens, of course, for the research thesis. So I intend going for this September intake. I was in touch with one of your guys, so who happened to give me the lowdown and add me to this particular group. That's why I said, okay, let me quickly talk. I need your advice. As per the money, as per the finances, I think everything is ready, but I just need the advice.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Abiola. Who is your advisor? What's your full name?
My name is Abiola Ogunleye Raphael.
All right, great. The person will be in touch because there are a number of questions that I want to ask that I'm not sure we have the time to do here. The first thing is that if you have 2 masters, why not do a PhD straight up? So I'm pretty sure you've thought about that. That question will need to be answered. If you want to do a third master's, that's not a problem. Some people have 4 or 5 masters, so that will not be much of a problem. But we need to understand that. So usually the best step is to have a consult and figure out what you want to master in again. You already have mastered in 2 things. So you've mastered in business and something in science. So why not do a PhD straight up will be the question. And then I'll need to be able to answer that question. I'm not sure we can do that here. So if you're serious about it, you can either come see us in the office or have a session with your advisor. But based on what you have said, you already answered your own question. You can tailor your CV to be able to get a third master's, or you can go do a PhD.
Okay. Okay. What about the refusal, the recent refusal? Hope that won't have any implication.
No, that's not an issue. That's not an issue.
Okay.
We'll take a look at what you did without us, and then we'll be able to advise you further. That's not an issue.
Okay, thank you.
Whoever is your advisor, I'm going to have somebody on the team now DM you on the chat box, and they can exchange. So the person, one of our people, somebody that is a co-host would DM you, and then you can reach out. Thank you, sir, for the question. Next person, I'm seeing iPhone. I'm seeing Stella Ago. iPhone, I would love for you to. Okay, Stella, you can go ahead. Stella Ago. Or Ago. Stella.
I think you've answered the question. She's the one that dropped the question, the first question on the chat box.
Okay, great. All right, great. Ayobami then. There was an iPhone, then Ayobami. And Chinyere. Okay,
hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, so I applied, I know, so I got an admission to Fleming College and I paid my tuition deposit, and I'm waiting for the attestation letter now, and I want to know, do I need to apply for the attestation letter after March 31st, or they will automatically send it to my email?
That's a great question. There's going to be a platform for that. So yes, you'll proactively have to reach out to the school to be able to get that sorted out. Did you apply through us?
Yes.
Okay, then you don't have a problem. Yes. So once,
right,
just keep in touch with your advisor. Once Ontario announces theirs, we'll be able to take next steps.
Okay.
Our team has already created a platform.
All right. Do I need to get the letter before applying for the visa?
Oh, yes. We need the letter before to apply, yes.
All right. Because
Rotimi,
one of your...
Sorry?
all right. That's the only question I have. Though.
Thank you, Ayobami. Rotimi, to answer your question quickly, they are not the same thing. Postgraduate certificate and master are not the same thing. For you to go ahead and do a master's, you are progressing in something you have already taken an initial insight on, and then you want to master it. And then when you progress to PhD, you want to research on it. When you want to do a postgraduate certificate, it means that you want to learn a specific thing that you could probably apply practically, or sort of pivot into a new course. Next person, please. Chinyere and then BC, or no, Chinyere then Chinwe Ebo. Chinwe Ebo is a very familiar name. Chinyere, can you unmute? Caroline, any question on the chat box? Okay. Yes, how are you, Chinyere? Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine. I don't really have much question. The question I wanted to ask is the one you addressed not quite long. Actually, because I was kind of confused at first, like if I wanted to go for a master's or a diploma program, because I actually got an admission with what's the name of this, the University of Canadian West, and the course is like an MBA. But last month they withdrew the applications. Thank God I've not paid any tuition fee deposits. So they said it's simply because of this issues surrounding this kind. So I was just happy that I did not pay for that tuition deposit. I was just happy. So I don't know if I should go ahead with this diploma course, or I should do the master, because considering this whole thing, master, I feel the master is expensive more than the what's it called, the diploma course. But I don't know, as an expert, which is the best for me. But for me, I don't mind. I don't mind doing any of it. And besides, I'm not going with my spouse, so no need. So anyone is fine by me. Anyone is fine.
All right, thank you for that question. Before I answer your question, I just need to put out a disclaimer. Whilst my team has said certain people should put their names and numbers on the chat box, I must let you know, at our level, a number of times people impersonate organizations and people. So if you dropped your number or your name, I would prefer that you even DM it to one of our co-hosts. But the idea is that do not let somebody who is here and is not one of us reach out to you later and say he's one of us, please. Very, very important. And I should have cautioned much earlier, all right? Because at our level, people reach out to us on so many things. So that's just a disclaimer that everybody should please note. Chinyere, what you should do at postgrad certificate or diploma or master's is dependent on a couple of things: your finance, your results, and what you want to do for your career. So my advice will largely be based on what you want to do for your career, and then we'll then figure out how much you have. Now, University of Canada West, you say you have a 2-2, right?
No, 2-1.
2-1. Oh, 2-1. Yeah, so there's no reason you shouldn't go to University of Canada West, because University of Canada West, there are better schools than University of Canada West. I'm trying not to say what I want to say, but if you have it, that kind of result. So one of the things with University of Canada West is that they're a private school. So if you understand what that means in Canada, it's a very dicey game. So it's always better you know what you're getting into before you get into it, right? We advise that school for people that have 2-1 and 2-2 and third class, because yeah. So Chinyere, okay, Mr. Abiola, yes, okay, someone reach out to you. So Chinyere, do you want to tell me what did you study in your first degree?
Okay, accounting education.
Accounting education. And
Yes.
you have been doing what for the last couple of years?
Yes, I've been working as a finance officer.
Finance officer. Okay.
Mm.
Accounting education. Okay, so now I get why you asked that question. So what do you see yourself doing in coming weeks or months? Like what career path? What accounting is very broad. What path are you looking to chart for yourself?
Okay, so I want to base the financial aspects, not management.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I want to be CFO.
CFO, exactly. So if you want to, so an MSc Finance would be a good idea. MSc Finance would be a good idea, or MBA Finance. Sorry, the cost.
Is another thing.
Did you say the cost?
Yes, like
yes, the cost.
You see like 50, 45.
Yes, yes.
Much.
So please send a DM again to. I think we've got about 7 people that are. So you either DM me, like some people are doing. DM me or anybody that is a co-host. Send them your name and number so we can reach out. And they can stay on this call and take up your inquiries. But I'm trying to make sure that I wrap up the meeting on my own end too. I have a live in 15 minutes. All right. So Chiri, DM your name, your number, and your email to me or any of our other co-hosts, and then we'll reach out. We'll take an advisory session for you. With what you said, you can actually start with a postgraduate diploma, postgraduate certificate. That would not be a bad idea. But I mean, the question is, are you married? Right? Are you married? Because if you're married, then the idea of being able to go with your partner, let them work, those things are very, very, so. All right. So Chinyere, send me a DM with your name, number, and email, and then let's schedule a call. It's easier. Okay, so I get exactly. So You've got our numbers on, you've got our, yes, great, perfect. Thank you for whoever just did that. God bless. So somebody on our team has already now put out our numbers and our names and stuff. So yes, so please reach out to any of those people. All right. So next question, please. Chinere, please reach out to me directly, like I said. Chinwe Ebo, and then BC.
Hello, good afternoon, people. Okay, so I don't know. My question is it's actually because I'm in a dilemma, so I want to just know how to proceed. So last year I got
Chinwebo, from your voice, you are my customer. Why are you reaching out to me?
No, because I actually need clarification. It's a good thing I can talk to you on this platform because I really need to have this answered quickly, please.
All right.
The question is, I got an admission to Sentinel sometime last year for May this year. And I don't know, I applied for visa. Before the whole attestation letter thing happened, I was able to put in my application. And I don't know if you're aware, but I was refused visa on the grounds of, finance. And also, they were not convinced I was going to return to my home country. Okay. So that was before the attestation letter thing came out. So I am honestly considering, because I have paid first semester tuition at Sentinel already, and I was just thinking that, okay, would it make sense for me to wait for the attestation letter to come out if I plan to reapply with Sentinel, or proactively try to apply to the other master's course? But the dilemma I'm currently experiencing is if I choose to apply to other master's course, withdrawing my admission from Sentinel and getting my money back might take a while, which is something I'm considering. And it's not like I have all the time because I plan to be in Canada before September. But then if I decide to stay with Sentinel and proceed with the admission, with the whole attestation letter thing, and then with Ontario being very crowded, does that make sense? And also, since I did not apply to Sentinel through you guys, I got the admission on my own. So I wanted to know if it's something I need to do from my own end for them to prioritize me for attestation letter since I've paid for tuition deposits, or do I just wait? And I don't know if I should wait and then see how that plays out by this end of the month, or what do I need to do? I think that's the dilemma I'm just currently experiencing.
All right, thank you. Simple, quick fire questions because my signal is 3 minutes away from now. One, you should get a refund from Sentinel. So if you applied from your own, reach out to them to get your refund. The fact that you have been denied before would affect your provincial attestation letter with that particular school. So that's one. I think they just applied for you to another school, right? Like our team just applied. I think I saw that. That's why your name is still in my head. I know they just reapplied. Yeah, so you could stick to whatever they did for you in our team or other schools. But if you've already been denied from Sentinel, you probably want to get a fresh start. So September is the logical intake. Refunds come back in 30 days to 90 days. So I think you have enough time. If you start your refund process now, you will have that money on hand to be able to pay your next tuition fee. With provincial attestation letters coming out within the next couple of weeks, you'll be primed to, applying for that with another school by the time your admission is out, maybe in 4 to 6 weeks. So that would be my advice, honest advice.
Okay.
And you can always reach me. Whoever is your advisor, tell the person that I said they should schedule a meeting if you still need to speak to them.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, guys, 1 more minute. I don't know how many questions I can still take. BC, I'll take BC before I go. Nee should be on. I'm saying, yes, this session is actually for our customers, so I know that I'm seeing a lot of our customers, but you guys should reach out to your advisors. I'll leave them here. I have to pray for your wife. BC, go ahead, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, BC. Sorry, just a minute. People that are interested in scholarship, I'm getting your DMs. Please, we do have that. Caroline, please drop details for them to be able to reach out to you. Scholarships are available for undergrad, postgrad levels, even PhD levels, but it's not a walk in the park. You must be committed to the process. So reach out to Caroline and your last team. They handle that. So I'm sure she will drop that in her DM. Right? Scholarships are possible, but you've got to be prepared to go through that process. BC, over to you in 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you so much. So speaking of the new policy now, I have a master's degree in economics. So initially I was planning to go for maybe a postbac or a master's, but I was discouraged because I saw the high price of master's tuition. So I applied for a postbac with Cape Breton, and I got the admission, but it's for September and January next year. So I don't know if I should go ahead with that, though I'm single for now, and I don't know if I should go ahead with that, or I should just apply afresh for a PhD, since I have a master's in economics already. So I don't know if you have partner schools that can really help that, or I just continue with the postbac journey. Thank you.
All right. So interesting question. Again, did you get your Cape Breton through us? BC, you don't have, if you're asking a question, don't mute. Did you get the Cape Breton through us, BC? Please unmute. Auntie BC. BC, unmute, or I've allowed you to unmute. I'm not sure if BC.
All right. So yeah, I was trying to unmute. So I got it myself, actually, not through you. But I have plans for you guys to help me with my application process, because I don't want to do any mistakes and I don't want to waste any money at all.
But you say you're currently single. Does that mean like your wedding is in view?
Amen. It's in view. But for now, let me still go.
So again, realistically,
Yeah.
there's a lovely lady in our office called Oluwalonimi. They can just drop her number for you. Reach out to her. Let her have a session with you. Let her see what you've done. So she would look at your academic history from the past, your work history, and the admission you got to Cape Breton. That would help us to make a decision on if you should stick to Cape Breton or find another school. If you're single, someone like you can go to any school, right? But I love that with my team. I say, let's know the person's story end to end. I liken us to lawyers and doctors. We need to know everything that you have gone through. If I just come and give you an answer based on what you say, we may make a mistake or a misdiagnosis, right? So please allow us to do that. I have dropped your number already for Nimi, but if she's on the call, and I'm not sure if she's on the call, she can drop her number on the chat box. All right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Any other question? I would allow Caroline to take. I've got to prepare for my life now. Thank you guys for coming. I see that Ni is here and Akudo. Caroline and Co can handle those questions. I have to prepare for a life now. Caroline, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, King of Jaffa, for the informative section. All right. So for those of you that have some questions, please I'll be attending to some of them now. All right. So I'm trying to get the questions.
So just unmute Ni, right? Ni has a question. Akudo is here. Whoever, just unmute them and ask their questions.
Okay. All right. Please, you can go ahead and ask your questions.
Hello, King Ojawa. Hello.
Go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, Oluwani on the line, please. Sorry, please. I just have a question. You know, thank God you've been my agent on the traveling processes. So I thank God for that. So please, I want to get something cleared. Now, I just got admission to Conestoga, a PGD program. So I just want to confirm if I finish the program, what number of years will be on my work permit? That's the first question. And second question is, do I need to get a letter of attestation for the program in Conestoga? Hello.
Mr. Oluwani, good afternoon, sir. Thank you very
Good
much for the
afternoon.
thank you very much for the question. So your first question is if you will be eligible for a postgraduate work permit once you are done. Okay, so based on the new Canada development, I mean their new policy, so it states that for any program that is different from master's, so for a program like postgraduate diploma, you are eligible for the duration of your course to get your postgraduate work permit. So for instance, if you are going for a 1-year postgraduate course, you will be eligible for a 1-year postgraduate work permit. If you are going for a 2-year postgraduate diploma, you'll be eligible for a 2-year postgraduate work permit. So it's for those that are going for masters. So it does not matter the duration of your course. You are getting a 3-year work permit. Do you understand? For those that are going for a postgraduate diploma, postgraduate certificate, you are getting the exact duration of your course as your postgraduate work permit. Do you get that?
So what about the second question?
So your second question is about attestation letter. Yes, you need an attestation letter. The only set of people that are not needing attestation letter are those that are going for masters and PhD. So anything aside masters and PhD, so you will need attestation letter for.
So for the attestation letter now, so what do I need to do? Actually, I'm applying to.
As it is now, you don't have to do anything. So everyone is affected. So we are waiting on the province to give us a response on how they are going to process that. So I mean, we still have till March 31st, which is like the deadline. So the rolling in of the attestation letter will start by then. So you just have to wait till we get something from the provinces.
Okay, thank you.
Do you understand? All right, thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, Blessing, for that. Thank you for asking that question. So we have another question from Uluwani. Asking if
No, don't bother.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'll move on to you can mute yourself, Nii. Thank you so much. So Nii's question reads, those of us that are HND holders, what does Canada have in store for us? Can we apply to master's program as well, or just postgraduate work? Postgraduate work or permits. I don't understand the last part of that.
I think what the person is trying to say, for those that have any HND certificates, what program is available for them in Canada? So as it is, Canada does not accept HND for master. So the best program you can go for is a postgraduate diploma. Advisably, that's the program you can go for. And with that, you can get your postgraduate work permit as well, which is more like on the long run, which is more like the goal that everyone is trying to achieve. Opportunity to stay back whilst when you are done with your study. So you can apply for a postgraduate diploma and then you get your postgraduate work permit once you are done with school as well. So that's it.
All right, we have another question from Chinyere. I have a question. What is the tuition deposit for master program compared to diploma courses? She wants to know the tuition deposit for master's program and also diploma courses.
Okay, so for that, actually, it varies. There's no particular, we can't really say, I mean, it varies from school to schools. So every school have their own tuition deposit that they tell people to, I mean, they tell students who they've given admission to pay. So, but at the bare minimum, I'll just advise you that you should, whatever your tuition fees per year, just prepare for a 50% part payment as your deposit. So oftentimes, majority of these schools, they do 50% of your tuition fee. That is, you are covering your first semester before you come. So always have at the back of your mind that you will be paying at least a 50% of your tuition. And aside the fact that the school is asking you to pay that, it also helps your visa approval. So these are things that they look at when they were reviewing your visa documents. I mean, your commitment to the school you are going and all of that. So it's advisable that you pay at least a 50% of your tuition fee. Yeah, so.
All right. Thank you so much for
on the practical aspect of the study. That is why you see that majority of these courses have the co-op, which is more like an internship for you to gain more knowledge that you actually need in order for you to be for your PR process, because one of the criteria for you to get your PR is your work experience as well. So there is really it is not the same, but the disparity between them is not as postgraduate diploma. It is fine as well. There is no disparity among them in the marketplace. So that's it.
all right. Thank you so much. So we have another question from Sadiq. His question reads, I have a BSc 22 and I am planning for MSc program in Canada, but I was told that most universities in Canada do not take 22 for MSc program. Is there a hole for me? And if there is, if there's likely a success rate for such?
Okay, yeah. So hearing that majority of the university do not take 2-2 for master's degree is, I mean, is very true. But however, we still have schools that they already bring down their own requirement of CGPA. So with a 2-2, you can actually get masters too. I mean, you can actually study master in Canada. It's just that there are some certain courses that are available for such. So what I would just advise is to reach out to our team and then they give you the options that are available. But I can tell you there is a success rate to that in getting your admission. So with a 2-2, you can get a master's degree in Canada. Just that there are specific and a number of courses that are available that you can apply to. So that's just it.
All right. So we have another question from Rotimi. My wife got a master's in MSc management and wanted to apply for master's in business analytics, but was told she can't do another master because she's trying to do a major management, which won't be possible. On the other hand, I am an automotive technician here in the UK based on experience, but have a trade test from Nigeria, but wasn't given a job in the UK based on that. It was simply an experience. I have a postgraduate admission in automotive service technician at Conestoga. What would you advise?
So sorry if I get the question correctly. So the person is saying that he was told, I mean, his wife cannot study another master because she already has a master's, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's not true. It does not matter if you have a master's degree already. You can still apply to study another master. I mean, people who have 2 to 3 masters. So there's no limitations to the number of master's degree you can acquire. So if your wife wants to go for another master's, reach out to our team and we'll help you out with that. So there are no limitations to the master's degree you can get. Do you understand? Thank you.
All right, so I also want to chip in. If you want to know or if you want more advice on that, you can book a consultation session with our advisor. We'll be happy to guide you. All right, so we have a question from Benny Wade. I was given admission last year for my May session. Can we still meet up since we can only apply for a visa after the availability of attestation letter? Did you
Okay,
get the
so
question?
yeah, I get it. So what I would say regarding this depends on how, I mean, we are still waiting. So it depends on how fast the attestation letter is going to come out. So if it comes out early and we still have time for, I mean, the visa processing and the processing time with the Canada embassy. So you can still go with the May intake. But if that is not so feasible, I will advise that you defer your admission to September. That would be like the best thing to do. If there is no, I mean, if you don't have enough time